Now I told you guys, since you guys voted for it, that I was gonna catch up on some lazy masquerade videos, man. So I went to the channel, and this is the one video that stuck out to me, man. We got 3 terrifying mannequin people encounters, true scary cryptid stories. Man, mannequins. I've never been afraid of mannequins though. But hold on, let me get a little, details about this. Mannequin people, down in the description here, it says mannequin people are terrifying faceless beings that torment people for unknown reasons. The following 3 stories were shared by people who claim to have encountered these otherworldly entities. They were collected from 2chan and Reddit. Mannequin people, huh? I thought it was just mannequin. I didn't know they were mannequin people. So shit, this gonna be good as hell. Oh, this was uploaded March 12th, 2019. Man, y'all know I cannot wait. Man, I'm finna peep this video, give it a listen, and y'all enjoy the reaction like usual. So down in the description will be a link to Lazy Masquerade's channel, a link to this original video so y'all can see it for yourselves without my commentary. Also will be links to all of my social medias. Get at your boy and see the personal life that I don't upload to YouTube. Without further ado, man, let's get into it. The best things happen in the dark. I remember that. Oh, look like Japanese mannequins. Not being racist.
Number 1.
Naparabu?
The following story was translated from the Japanese website, 2chan.
See, Japanese.
I live on the outskirts of Sapporo, in Hokkaido, Japan. It's an extraordinarily safe place to live, albeit a little freezing cold. This story just so happened to take place during a particularly cold winter there. The whole area was covered in snow, and the sun was beginning to set. I was power walking along the Ishikari River, desperately trying to get home. Even after living here for the past 10 years, I still haven't gotten used to that damn cold.
It be like that.
As I made my way along the riverside, I noticed a man up ahead, standing with his back to me. He had his hood up over his head, and despite all the snow, he was barefoot. I scanned the area, and there was absolutely nobody else around. Now, as I mentioned, I lived in an extremely safe part of the world, but even still,
Safe.
I felt a little uneasy. There was just a weird atmosphere about the guy. The way he was standing completely still, with his back turned to me. Well, he obviously wasn't looking at the river. Was he just standing there, staring at the ground? Not to mention, I'm a 5'2" petite woman, and this guy appeared to be at least 6 foot. Very tall by Japanese standards. Still, I put all those worries to the back of my mind.
Yeah, alright.
The man remained perfectly still as I came to pass him. I muttered a quiet, "Good evening," under my breath, in a vain attempt to ease my unease, I suppose.
I wouldn't have said shit.
He didn't reply as I walked past.
Leave it alone.
All I could hear were the sounds of my footsteps, rhythmic and predictable. After 10 or 15 steps, though, something interrupted the flow of their beat. I turned around and saw that the barefoot man was following behind me now. But his face, the best way I can describe it is like a mannequin, or one of those wooden figures that artists use. Don't get me wrong, his face was fleshy, but there were no features. His head was faceless, just like an operabo from Japanese folklore.
Damn near Slender Man.
As I picked up my pace, he did as well. Now, extremely frightened, I broke out into a sprint, desperate to get away from the faceless man. Looking back over my shoulder, I could see that the man was running at full speed as well, no longer just keeping pace, but actually gaining on me. I'd never felt such fear in my life. managed to make it to a corner with a bridge. From it, passing cars could see me. If this was the end, there'd at least be witnesses. I turned
Damn.
around one final time to see how close the man was to me now.
You just gave up, basically.
But that's the thing. He was just standing there, frozen in place once again. He stood, facing me, if you want to call it that, and remained motionless as I fled into the distance. I ran all the way back to my home, unsure of what to do. Should I call the police? What should I tell them? That I saw a Noberabo? As the night went on, I continued to deliberate. By midnight, I decided to sleep on it. I fell into a deep slumber, exhausted by the events of the evening.
It be like that.
I was awoken by a series of loud, melodic notes. It was my front doorbell. I rubbed my eyes and checked the clock next to my bed. 3 a.m.
The witching
What the
hour.
hell? To say I was surprised would be an understatement. I have an app on my phone with a camera that's linked to my doorbell.
There you go.
That way, I can see who's standing at my front door without ever having to get up and check.
Oh boy.
I opened the app to see who in God's name was ringing my doorbell at 3 in the morning. The live footage from the camera popped up. Standing at my front door, with his head close up to the camera, was that same faceless figure I had seen by the river. It had somehow followed me. I dropped my phone in a state of pure shock.
I'm not gonna pause the
In
video.
a panic, I immediately ran into my bathroom and locked the door.
I want to so bad.
My mind was racing, and I knew I had to call somebody for help. The police, my parents, my friends, or my neighbors, I didn't care. Just anybody who could make this faceless man disappear. Stupidly, I had left my phone on my bed after I dropped it, but I was far too scared to leave the safety of my locked-on suite. After 20 minutes, I finally worked up the courage to go and get it. I lifted my device, and, with my eyes half covered by my hands, reopened the app to see if he was still standing in my doorway. The live feed popped up again. The faceless man was nowhere to be seen. I took the opportunity to call my father. I told him some strange man had stalked me to my house, that he had come for me in the night. Needless to say, he rushed over and arrived only a few moments before a police car. He had taken the liberty of calling them for me. I explained the situation to them all, told them about bumping into a faceless man by the river. I showed them my app, which confirmed my doorbell had indeed been activated at 3 in the morning. Frustratingly, the app didn't have a record function, so I had no definitive evidence to show them. Okay, said one of the cops. Be on the lookout for a man with no face. Got it. I thought he was mocking me.
He is.
So I insisted I was being serious. Oh, believe me, I'm taking this seriously, ma'am, he said. You're not the first one around here to report this guy.
Oh.
As of right now, nothing's come of their investigation. I don't know how many people in my town have claimed to have seen this guy, but from what the cop said, I at least know I'm not the only one. There's one final detail I have to share. When the police searched the area, they found a set of footprints in the snow, mud and grass around my house. They led from my front doorstep all the way around the perimeter of my house. Whoever had left them had stopped outside every one of my ground floor windows. The prints had obviously been made by somebody walking barefoot. No DNA could be extracted from them.
That face
I live in a remote, rural part of East Oklahoma.
just scared the fuck out of
Nothing
me.
but farmland, wide empty fields or forests all around, depending on which direction you're looking. The nearest town is a solid 10-minute drive away from here, and before that, there's barely any signs of life at all. Oftentimes, I feel a little isolated here, especially since I live by myself. I arrived home from town one evening, just before sunset. It It had been a long day at work, and to be honest, I was exhausted. I fed my little dog Curly, a Jack Russell Terrier, and then set about fixing up some dinner for myself. After that, I eased myself down into my armchair and flicked on the TV, put on some mindless show to zone out to. Just what the doctor ordered, I thought. A nice, relaxing evening. As I watched TV, my eyelids became heavier and heavier. At some point, I drifted off to sleep. I woke up in my armchair a couple of hours later to the sound of Curly barking. "Damn dog," I said, frustrated. "Oh, shut up, would you?" With that, Curly obediently fell silent. Good boy. It was pitch black outside now. The TV was the only thing lighting the room. Oh, I felt groggy and dazed, the way one does when they're suddenly woken up mid-nap. I stood up and made my way towards the kitchen to get a glass of water. I walked through to the hallway. Like I said, I was in a tired frame of mind, which is probably why it took me a moment to process that my front door was wide open.
See?
I always leave my front door locked. Living alone in the sticks can make a guy paranoid, and I never take any chances. My first thought was that some animal had wandered into my house while I slept.
You shouldn't be living
that,
in the
of course,
sticks.
didn't make any sense. As far
Back
as I
to
knew, there weren't any animals
civilization.
in this part of the country that could unlock a door. My thoughts went to Curly.
Bigfoot?
He never usually barked for no reason. Confused, I walked back into the living room. There, hiding under the coffee table, was Curly. I'd never seen him like this before. He was looking directly into the dark dining room ahead of him, staring at something with surgical focus, absolutely transfixed. Had he not been shaking, you'd have probably thought he was a small statue. He knew something I didn't, namely, what was in the dining room. All I could see through the doorway was darkness. The sound of a commercial played in the background from my TV. I inched closer to the dining room entrance, and Curly began to squeak, as if to warn me not to go in. I must have only been about 6 or 7 steps from the doorway when I heard creaking from my dining room floorboards. My throat began to feel tight as the reality of the situation dawned on me. Then, through the blackness of the entrance, a huge, hunched-over figure stepped out towards me. It walked through into the living room and stood up in front of me. It was the tallest man I had ever seen in my life. He must have been 7 feet tall, and he looked to be well dressed.
Jesus.
His upper body was immensely broad, but his lower body and limbs were long and stick-thin,
Yeah,
like an
Shaquille
emaciated
O'Neal in your
skeleton.
house.
Its head. I wanted to vomit when I looked at it.
Big Shaq.
It was far too small for its huge body, half the size of a normal human head. The light from my TV lit up its face. I thought I was going to pass out, but I couldn't help but stare at it. The best way I can describe it was like the face of a porcelain doll. Its skin was extremely pale and had absolutely no blemishes or markings, with a sheen like it was made of china. The shape of a human face was there, but the features were like a child's and looked as if they had been painted on.
He killing me with these
It
pictures.
was like a giant, living doll. The expression remained frozen on its face as it just stood there, looking down at me, 6 steps away from me. Hell, maybe only 3 steps for him. We just stood, looking at each other for what could have been 5 seconds or 5 minutes. Curly was going wild. It was surreal. That's when it let out the most disturbing, distorted wail I have ever heard. The tall man then stepped awkwardly towards me, the expression on its baby face unchanged. I ran to escape it, but it pushed past me and made for the front door. It ran out of my house, its thin legs struggling to hold up its body. I dashed upstairs to get my rifle, terrified it might return.
You had a gun?
I checked it was loaded, and then looked out my bedroom window.
Should have been had that.
I watched from my window as the man-thing sprinted from my house. It leapt over the fence separating my property from the field next door and began running through the empty plains. It was a dark night, but there was just enough moonlight for me to make out one final, disturbing detail. Without stopping, it twisted its head around until it was on backwards, so those soulless, empty doll eyes could look back at me as it ran away.
Yeah, fuck no.
My stomach almost hit the floor.
This is...
It kept its porcelain face turned towards me as it faded into the tree line at the end of the field. I knew I should call somebody and tell them what just happened. But who? Hello, police. A huge doll man thing just broke into my home and he took nothing. You know, what could I say? I confided in friends and family.
It does
who,
sound a little
guess what,
unlikely.
told me I was going nuts.
Drake and Josh
That's why I'm sharing
reference.
my story here. I wanted to get this off my chest, share it with people who might actually have something more constructive to say about my experience. People who won't just call me mad. I've done some research, and it seems like there have been some similar sightings in Hawaii. I don't think I can be alone in my experience. If anyone else knows what these things are, or has any other information to share, please, let me know. Number 3. It was late one night, and I needed to take the tube, the London Underground Metro, back to my apartment. Unfortunately, I'd failed to keep an eye on the clock. I'd made it to the station, but the last train home was in just a few minutes. I rushed down the escalators, corridors, and stairs to the platform, only to see the train doors close right there in front of me. It took off through the tunnel, leaving me stranded.
It'd be like that.
Damn it. I didn't have a lot of cash, so paying for a taxi all the way back to my home was going to sting. I took a seat on the platform so I could rest my weary legs and think for a moment. No more than 2 minutes after the last train had left, to my surprise, I heard the sound of another train coming down the tracks. That was odd, I thought. There had been no announcements through the station speakers, and the sign that displayed all the upcoming trains was just blank. Not to mention, when I checked the timetable for the trains, the previous train was definitely the last one scheduled.
Don't get on.
I decided not to question it, and just accepted that karma had thrown me a bone. The train began to slow down, and as it did, I could see inside every passing carriage. There was nobody on the train. Each carriage was completely empty. I figured there wouldn't be many people catching the last train at this hour on a Wednesday, especially since this station was relatively quiet at the best of times.
Y'all see this
but
poster?
It seemed odd that there was nobody else on board.
On the right-hand side?
As the train came creaking to a halt in front
Those
of me,
people on the faces and all that?
happened.
Good.
Unlike all the others, the carriage that stopped directly in front of me was absolutely full of people. I was a little weirded out, to be honest. Why was everybody in this part of the train and not the other parts? Only the doors for the full carriage lit up. All the others remained inactive. Guess this journey was going to be a tight squeeze. I got ready to push my way on board, and in typical British fashion, kept my eyes low and my earphones in. Don't want any of that uncomfortable social interaction now, do I? As the doors opened before me, I tried to push past the people standing directly by the door. I'm only a small person, and figured I'd find a little nook to stand in further in the carriage. As I nudged past the first few travelers, though, I noticed something.
What?
Their bodies didn't react the way I expected. Their limbs felt hollow as I squeezed past. It didn't feel like I was pushing past flesh. Even the light force of my body moving past them seemed to make them come unbalanced and stumble from side to side.
Where's the scary picture at?
I took out my earphones to apologize and looked up to make eye contact.
I know there's gonna be one.
It hardly registered at first, but after a second of confusion, I was horrified to see that the man in front of me had absolutely no face. There was just a plastic-looking white space where his face should have been. He had a head, sure, but no facial features whatsoever. He looked just like a mannequin that you'd see at Forever 21 or something. Don't get me wrong, he was moving like a normal person. He just had no face. Just like the woman standing next to him, and the man next to them, and the one beside him, and the woman sat across from me, and the child that was with her. Everybody on board. They were all the exact same. Pure white, plastic-looking, faceless and hairless, dressed in clothes like normal people, like a whole train carriage of mannequins that you'd see in a shop window. And what was worse, from the shape of their heads, I could tell they were all looking directly at me. All of them were dead silent. They literally made no sound. They shuffled and stood up and moved, but there was no talking, no rustling of material, no breathing or any natural human sounds at all.
I bet.
The silence was broken by the train doors. They started beeping, signaling that they were about to close. I immediately pushed back off the train and managed to get out just in time.
There you go.
The thought of being trapped inside with those faceless people, the thought of it even today. The faceless heads in the window continued to stare at me as the train finally pulled away from the platform. It disappeared into the tunnel. I decided paying for a taxi wouldn't be such a bad idea after all.
Hell no.
This was easily the eeriest experience of my life, and I can't seem to make sense of it.
It be like that.
If it was some kind of prank, it was extremely elaborate. There were too many people involved.
Right.
Not to mention, they would have had to get their hands on an entire goddamn train.
Right.
I've steered clear of using the tube at night ever since.
I bet you have. Wow. That's crazy. I'm definitely going to have to tune back in with LM.
Hey guys, Lazy here, and thank you very much for listening. Well, something very different this time. I thought it was good to try something new. Usually I stick to more the real world kind of stuff, you know what I mean? Abandoned homes and creepy people and all that kind of stuff. But sometimes it's fun to delve into the supernatural.
Yeah.
Especially a topic that hasn't been covered by many YouTubers, so
Right.
yeah, variety is the spice of life, I guess. If you did enjoy the video, then please be sure to smash that like button and share it around with your friends on social media or whatever. Every little helps, every little helps. Speaking of help, I'd like to thank my biggest supporters on Patreon: Matthew J. Bauer, Anime Wim, Fun with Failure, Stephanie, Crazy Mask Parade,
Fun with failure.
James Labour, John Crouch, Lester Lido, Procupidine Netta, Bob the Dabble, Gina Valera, Philip Westra, Alex Greensall, Monica Mendoza, Scion of the Emperor, Crawford K. MacDonald, Marley Wright, and Ray Price Burt. Thank you so much, guys. If you'd like to support me on Patreon too, you can find a link down in the description below. Until next time, guys, you all stay spooky.
And remember,
the best things happen
in the dark. I remember that. He was telling the truth when he said, you know, it doesn't hurt to cover a topic that hasn't been covered by many YouTubers. But I'm not really remembering any YouTubers doing a scary video on Manikin People. Actually, fuck, what am I doing? I could just look it up right now. Hold up. Manikin People scary stories. Yeah, he was telling the truth. There's really not that many YouTubers, at least not any that I've reacted to and whose content I've watched. He's the only one who really has a Manikin People type, you know, video. I mean, Mr. Creeps, Mannequin Forest. Ooh. I'm pretty sure that's scary as fuck. But you know what? Actually, that sounds like it might be interesting. I'm gonna have to put that in my reaction material folder. I'm gonna have to peep that out. It was uploaded a year ago. From oh shit, yeah, I'm gonna have to peep that out. But yeah, man, I'm sorry I had to. The video got cut a few times. Um, there, it got cut like once or twice. I forgot to like get rid of the ads for this video, like I do for all of my other ones. That's how I'm able to just smoothly just watch the whole video, and there's no parts that I have to cut out because ads and commercials start popping up. I forgot to get rid of that prior to me setting the video up. So my apologies for that, but I do hope that you enjoyed the video because I know that I did. And I'm gonna be honest, I expected, when he was describing how those people on that train looked, I was literally expecting him to just throw like 10 or 20 faceless humanoid beings or mannequins that he was describing. I was literally sitting here like, okay, get yourself ready, man, because he's about to throw them on the screen, because he threw pictures up on the screen for the first two stories. So I had only assumed he would have throw one or a couple up for the last one, but I'm glad he didn't, because man, bruh, I was finna start sweating in this bitch. Real talk. 3 terrifying mannequin people encounters. I like this. For some reason, it shows that I'm subscribed to Lazy Masquerade, but apparently I don't have the bell icon tapped, so we're going to change that right now. You'll get all notifications, and there we go. Shouts out to you, Lazy Masquerade. If you don't mind, brother, I'm finna be peeping a lot more of your content because, man, I forgot how dope you and your content was, man. Real talk, man. I forgot. It slipped my mind how talented you were, man. For real, man. Like, I'm gonna be peeping a lot more of your content. And I love that the fact that what you said at the end there, like you trying something new, trying something different. It never hurts to try something different. You'll never know. It could work better than what you have done or, what you are doing currently, man. But yeah, man, Mannequin People Encounters, you was right. I just did a search, and man, I don't really see any from well-known YouTubers. Unless I just didn't look at the names good enough. But I didn't see any from well-known YouTubers. I just saw your video towards the top. It was like the second one. And then I saw the creepypasta by Mr. Creeps, Mannequin Forest, which I'm going to peep, sometime real soon. But yeah, man. So you guys can look forward to that, more Lazy Masquerade material because, like I said, I forgot how dope Buddy was. I forgot how, skilled he was at this horror stuff, man. It slipped my fucking mind. I don't know how I could sit here and be peeping all this other scary content, but I don't throw Lazy Masquerade up in there, man. So my bad, brother. I'm gonna be peeping your content a lot more, man. Man, keep doing what you're doing, man. Keep being great, man, for real. One good question before I close this video out. What would y'all do? Because, first of all, Buddy in the second story should have been had his gun. And the third story, when you saw a train come out of nowhere, but you knew that the train before that was the very last one. The fact that you even got on the train, period, was proof you were playing around with your life and that you didn't give a fuck about it. Secondly, you, in the first story, got chased home by some mannequin type creature. And you look in your phone because it's connected to the doorbell, and you're looking and you see this creature. There is a video. That's why I was so nervous and, you know, creeped out by that. There is a video that Slapped Ham did. It says scariest doorbell camera pictures or videos or something like that. And there's this one, it's fucking infamous, man, where there's just like this person or this creature with this mask on that's just staring at the camera with their hands behind their back, or they just don't have hands, and it's just staring at the fucking camera. Like, y'all know exactly what I'm talking about. All you real horror fans out there, y'all know exactly the video that I'm talking about. Bruh, that video creeps me the fuck out every time I see it, because his face is just so close. It's just so fucking close, man. And then the look on his face, and man, that video fucks me up every time. I ain't gonna lie. I can't front. But yeah, man, what do y'all do if you hear a knocking on the door at 3 a.m. and let's say that your doorbell didn't have a camera on it and it wasn't connected to your phone, so the only way you can see who's outside is if you look out the window or look out the peephole on the door, and you look out and you see a mannequin type creature just smiling into the peephole. It can't see you, where you're not supposed to be able to see inside of a peephole. You're only supposed to be able to see out of it, but it sees you, but it's just smiling at it. Like, what do you do? Because you know that it's not real, technically, and that by the time you call the police, it's gonna be gone. What do you do? Like, what? See that, you know, tell them that you had a smiling humanoid-like figure at your door, and then as they were on their way, you look back outside and it was seen, you know, dipping, burning rubber, like down the sidewalk or down the street or something. Like, no, jumping over fences, and then it spins its head around like a fucking owl and looks back at you while it's running. Oh, Lord have mercy. You know what? I'm creeping myself out with this shit. I'm done with this video, man. I'm done with this. This gave me a good scare. Shouts out to Lazy Masquerade. You got yourself a true supporter here, brother. Keep doing what you're doing, man. I'm fucking with you 100%. What did you guys think of this video and my reaction? Leave your feedback down in the comment section below. Leave a like and share the video. And if you really enjoyed my reaction, subscribe to the channel and tap that bell icon so you will get notified every time your boy Steph drop new content, which I do 7 times a week. That is all I got for y'all this time around. Your boy Steph is out.